Welcome, this is Vandana here from the Yoga Therapy Clinic, and today's session is about leaky gut syndrome and boundaries. So there's quite a few people interested in this, so let's see who turns up on live, but you can also post your questions afterwards as well. So it's quite intriguing, this topic, because people would ask, what does leaky gut syndrome have anything to do with boundaries? And when I was being taught as part of the yoga therapy, we looked at the physiology of the body, which was here, and we looked at how the boundaries worked in various parts for the gut, and then we looked at the physiology of the mind. So once we take that on consideration, we then overlap one to the other and see how it reflects. So there's a direct correlation between leaky gut and having good boundaries. So the first thing to understand is, how does the gut look? So we're talking about the small intestines here, and I've got a little picture here so it helps us understand. So we'll hold this up. So in terms of the boundaries, so once you've got the intestinals here, these are the intestinal villi that would absorb the nutrients, and then you've got your surface layer of the cells. And what leaky gut is, when these cells are together, it's fine because all these lovely little nutrients come into the cells and they nourish the cells. But where the problem becomes is whereby you've got here where there's a gap. So these are called gap junctions. And there's gap junctions between all the cells. So all cells are individual and they are sealed together. And this gap junction, when there is a little gap, or as if they're not holding together, that's where nutrients will pass through directly into the bloodstream. So this is undigested material, unprocessed material, when it finds itself in the gut. It causes a lot of havoc. So if you've got irritable bowel, you've got, your bowel movements are up and down, sometimes you're constipated, sometimes you've got diarrhea. This would indicate that you've got that leaky gut syndrome. So when you've got something like that, you'll find that because you're not digesting the food properly, it's passing through the bloodstream, your energy levels will be quite depleted. So you don't feel kind of energized, you kind of feel much more depleted, a sense of and tiredness kicks in. That also then plays a huge big role on how you feel in your physiology. You've got headaches, your cloudiness that takes through, and you just don't feel into your A game. So it could indicate that you've got that leaky gut. And when you eat food, there's bloating and it's like the indigestion takes place. So under Ayurveda and yoga, the gut is the main system that we have to look after. And it will say, well, if you've got that going on, if you've got undigested material going on, chances are you're going to have coating on your tongue. So this is one way to know, if you looked at your tongue, any undigested material. If you already don't think that you've got headaches, or you've got your bowel not clean, and you think, oh, that's just normal, well, then have a look at your tongue, because the tongue will give you a second level of saying, oh, actually, there's some, it's not too good because you've got coating on it. Now, the coating, what it does, the sensitivity of the tongue and the energetics towards the tongue and what's actually happening in the gut itself, because this is a whole photograph of the organs on the tongue, there is no connection. So what you eat is just going through, it's not actually activating that part of the body. Now, main thing about boundaries and gut problem is that this boundary is weakened. Right? There isn't something that's strong and whole. So when you then turn into the yogic view of how this affects us and how our thoughts about boundaries affects this, you can start to see what's happening. So if I show you, so we've talked about a chakra, which is your Manipura chakra, which is your solar plexus. And now the Manipura chakra, it governs boundaries. This is the core of where do I stand and where I am in relation to life itself. What gets thrown at me, and can I also stand in that face of disengagement, or just be able to reflect back to say, what do I do, rather than being caught up, or whereby it's not strong enough, that boundary, and that somebody is interfering in our lives and we're letting them. So this is where the boundary aspect becomes visible with those with leaky gut syndrome. So if you've got leaky gut and you've got those symptoms outlined, then just think about the next level, meaning your thoughts. Where are you at and how steady do you feel as yourself inside yourself? This is not like I'm here and I'm going to do this and you're going to do that. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is the sense of self, where when things get thrown at us, can we just look at it dispassionately and then know where's the locus of control? What can I do with that? And what can I can't do with that? Because everything that gets thrown at you is not your thing. It could be other people's things, and we just got to sit face to face in that. And then life itself will move and navigate what needs to be navigated. But very important that you find out what it is that puts you outside of your sense of self. So if you are in yourself, balanced, okay, what you'll find is you have a sense of vitality, a sense of willpower, a sense of purposefulness. And this is just as an individual. So nothing kind of throws you. So you're very clear in where you're going. So that's the quality of Manipura. When it's balanced, I'm going to read out some things here. You have a sense of inner harmony, which we can see if you just sit back and reflect. Yes, I do. I feel I'm okay with where I'm at. Whether it's, when I'm at the top CEO level, whether I'm doing yoga therapy, whatever I'm doing, I'm happy with where I'm at. So sometimes people struggle because they have a past life and they haven't been able to put that aside, and they're in this life and they're still kind of weaning, trying to be there, but trying to be here. So the boundary is not very clear. So that sense of tranquility is not going to be there, and the harmony is there. You have self-acceptance. Now, this is a big thing. Sometimes things do happen in life where you have to let go. Doesn't mean you let go for life. It just means you have to just accept that's that and got to move on. So the sense of that, is very clear. There's responsibility, there's confidence as well. So responsibility is what's on your plate is on your plate, right? If you've taken on a job, this is where the job if responsibility lies, then that's what it is. So you have that self-acceptance saying, yep, I can do it, and I've got the resources to help. If you haven't, when you're understanding you're taking on too much, then what do you need to do? Is there some parts in your personal life you need to curve in to get that sense of responsibility in control again? Or do you need to kind of just say, look, you know what, in my time of life, I can't take this on board because I've got all these other things to do. So boundaries become very clear with those kind of mindset. Now, if you haven't got that mindset, there's going to be, of course, excess or not enough, right? So if you've got excess, you become quite arrogant and dominating, and you kind of put yourself out there and try so hard. And when you do that, you're going to suck from yourself, suck from others, right? It's just too much energy or burn through. So your boundaries are not clear, okay? So they're not very clear about where you need to be. They're still loose, okay? And also when there's not enough money for the sense of boundaries, you'll feel low self-esteem, you're not quite clear, you don't have to get up and go, you don't have to drive. You can see how that sogginess comes in. Once again, that directly reflects the boundaries. So in summary, right, I've talked about this in the past. Your thoughts will create the emotions, create the actions. If you don't feel you whole in the sense of who you are, there's your thoughts. The emotions behind that, the drive behind that, will then find its way into the body, and it does. So we feel it, and then that will determine the actions, i.e. it will start to spread out, whatever it is you're feeling in terms of boundaries. So this is long-term. If you've always had long-term issue about where you're at, where you're not at, we start to come clear. So leaky gut syndrome is not just about what you eat. It's about looking at the emotions, looking at the thoughts, and coming back and create a sense of self and acceptance of where things are at, where you're at. So hopefully this helps you understand the two, reflect and see if you can find that, the sense of, body and mind, they really work together and addressing both sides. Now, some people think, okay, well, what do I do if I do find my sense of boundaries not there? And what do I do with this emotion? Well, look, we've got a nice new year coming along. So come and see me. We'll do a half an hour free discovery session. We'll have a chat and we start to look at what elements in your life you need to adjust and change and get you on the right path to your wellness. So give me a call if you need to. Thanks for tuning in. Leaky gut, boundaries, mind and body work together. Thank you very much.